Hello, bonjour et bienvenue. We are going to begin our live webcast with our paleobiologist, Dr. Jordan Mallon. He is in the southern parts of Alberta studying dinosaurs, centrosaurs. So we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding his fieldwork. Alors, nous commencerons notre discussion en direct avec notre paléobiologiste, M. Jordan Mallon. Il va faire des études, il est en train de faire des études au sujet des dinosaures au sud d'Alberta. Alors, il sera très heureux de répondre à vos questions. Just to start off with, Jordan, could you let us know where you are right now and what you're doing? What kind of work are you doing this summer?
Well, I'll just start first by asking, can you guys hear me okay?
Absolutely, yeah, loud and clear.
I'm one of the few lucky paleontologists who has access to Wi-Fi in the field.
Absolutely.
Which is why we're able to do this. Right now, I'm in Alberta, about an hour's drive north of Medicine Hat. I'm actually, my field tent here is pitched in an abandoned farm lot. And we're about maybe 15-minute drive to get to the edge of the Badlands that crop out along the South Saskatchewan River. Here, my crew and I, the rest of my crew, there's three more of us, have gone ahead of me today, and they're working down in the Badlands right now. We're working right now. We've been here for a little over a week, and we're working on two prospects that we found here last year. One is looks to be so far a complete skull of a horned dinosaur called Chasmosaurus kaysoni. And then there's a second prospect. It's a big bone bed of another species of horned dinosaur called Centrosaurus. And so today they're down there in the quarry. They've been just now working those two sites. And that's what will be our focus this year, is trying to bring back as much of those fossils as we can this year, including that big skull.
Great. And the skull that you referred to, this is a skull of a type of chasmosaur?
Sorry, can you say that again, Tara?
So the skull that you're referring to, that's the find that you'd like to bring back, this is the skull of a chasmosaur?
Yeah, it's if you go down in the fossil gallery, you'll see we have an example of a Chasmosaurus down there already, although it's not the same species that I'm after. The one in the fossil gallery is a species called Chasmosaurus russellii, and you'll see that it has very, very short horns over the eyes. The one I'm after is a species called Chasmosaurus kaysoni, and it has longer horns, and it's a very, very rare species, which is why I'm excited to get to it. So we just have the skull so far into the hill. We've been quarrying to get at it. I anticipate that in maybe 1 or 2 weeks' time, we'll have it fully exposed, flipped, and jacketed. It's going to be a big, heavy skull when all is said and done, probably on the order of 1,000 pounds. And then I'm thinking helicopter to get it out of the Badlands, because we're not going to be able to carry it out by hand, and it's very difficult to get a truck down there.
Sounds like
a wheel and deal right now to see if we can get a helicopter to lift it out for us in a couple of weeks' time.
Sounds like you have some really exciting days coming up ahead. I'm going to do a brief translation for our francophone visitors. Notre paléontologue, M. Jordan Mallon, est en train de faire ses recherches au sud-est d'Alberta, et il est proche de la rivière South Saskatchewan. Et il est en train de faire des recherches en deux endroits de différents types de dinosaures, mais les deux sont des herbivores. So how with these two dinosaur sites, are these dinosaurs at all related? They're both in the herbivore dinosaur group. Is there a closer relationship between them?
Yeah, they're both horned dinosaurs. So they both belong to the dinosaur group that we call Ceratopsidae, or the horned dinosaurs. Think of Triceratops as the most common, the most popular one.
Absolument. Alors, c'est dans la famille des cératopsiens. Si vous pensez aux Triceratops, c'est dans cette famille de dinosaures qu'il est en train de faire ses recherches. Et deux endroits différents. Et il espère qu'à la fin de cet été, qui vient presque dans quelques jours, quelques semaines, il va être capable d'enlever le crâne d'un des chasmosaures, complètement enlevé, peut-être en hélicoptère, pour l'amener chez nous. Would this be brought back to our facilities, the Museum of Nature, Jordan?
In Alberta, the fossil buy from province to province and from country to country. What happens is anything we collect here remains property of the province of Alberta, but we are able to bring the specimens back to the Canadian Museum of Nature and do our research on them.
You're just cutting out for one moment there, but I'll recap what you... Yeah, the feed is just cutting out for a moment.
Display them if we want to, but ultimately, the main property of it.
So yeah, our feed is just is cutting out just a little bit, but I'll recap what Jordan was saying.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
I'll just recap what you were saying earlier regarding legalities of moving fossil material. So Alberta has laws against their fossil material being moved outside of the province. I guess that would be on a permanent basis, but it sounds from what Jordan was saying that on a temporary basis for the purpose of research, that fossil material can be moved with permission. So the studies on the bone material will be done in Ontario or in our research facility in Quebec, in Elmer, Quebec. And at that time, I imagine it's going to be returned back to Alberta. So that's correct. So at the end of the research, the bone material, the fossil material needs to be returned back to Alberta?
Yeah, so effectively we have that material on long-term loan, which could be, 50 years if we asked. But ultimately, it goes back to Alberta.
Great. Thank you so much. Were there any questions we had that haven't been covered? Questions from the audience? Est-ce qu'on a des questions de l'auditoire? Did you guys have any questions here in the front? That's it? No questions there? So we're wondering who is studying with you right now? Are you there all by yourself, or do you have company?
Yeah, we have 3 people out with. I have 3 people out with me right now. All CMN, all Museum of Nature staff. We've got Margaret Curry and Alan McDonald's, who are technicians in paleobiology, and we also have my research assistant Scott Ruffalo, who also works at the museum. So they're out there right now, quarrying away while I get to enjoy the shade of the tent here.
And how far away from you?
They're probably kilometers to the west of me right now. And although they're quarrying away there, we have picked up a few odds and ends over the last few days that are kind of neat. If you want me to show them off.
Absolutely.
See?
You have some material to show us. We'd be more than happy to see.
Yeah, we just have some bits and pieces that we've been pulling out, so bigger, but in the process you can pick up some neat little bits. So I'm just opening the package here. At the end, we just found the end of this is a nose horn from one of the centrosaurs.
Oh, fantastic.
Just the tip of it. The whole thing would have been quite a bit bigger, but we found this eroding out the other day, which is kind of cool. What else do I have here? Oh, this is a neat one. Sorry, bear with me here. A tyrannosaur tooth in the bone bed as well. We actually find these pretty often. Sometimes on some of the bones, you'll find tooth marks on the bones. So what we think is happening is you get this mass accumulation of dead animals, in this case, the horned centrosaurs, and then you get scavengers coming along to feed on all these carcasses. So it's pretty common that you'll find these shed teeth in the bone bed. These tyrannosaurs were coming along and feeding on the dead carcasses, shedding their teeth and leaving tooth marks on the bone as well. And so those are always pretty neat to find.
And just to repeat what you had said initially, so what you're just holding up, that was a tyrannosaur tooth?
Yes, so this is a shed tyrannosaur tooth. Yeah.
Tyrannosaur tooth. So the research that Jordan is doing is on an herbivore dinosaur. Why would he find a carnivorous dinosaur's tooth?
For me?
Was feeding off of the dead carcass.
You got it, absolutely. So that was the tooth of the predator, and Jordan is studying the prey animals. That's great, Jordan. That's really informative. And there
I can show you one more thing.
Sure.
If you want to bear with me, we collected our first jacket out of the Chasmosaur quarry the other day. I'll go get it. Just give me a second.
Absolutely. So do you guys know what a field jacket is? Is it like a woolly coat jacket that keeps like the dinosaur bones warm? What could it be? Well, that material that comes out of a dinosaur bone bed needs to be protected, and quite often it's wrapped up in a protective material. It could be a plaster cast that's made around the fossil material, and we refer to those as fossil jackets.
Right, so exactly. Whenever we collect bones out of a quarry, we protect them during transport from the Badlands back to the museum. So we wrap them in a mixture of burlap and plaster. When we were quarrying after the Chasmosaur skull the other day, we found there's actually part of a thigh bone sitting on top of the skull. So we had to remove it so we could keep collecting the skull. So it's just a half jacket in this case. It's only capped on one side, but if I tip it, you can kind of see there's a bone in there. So yeah, we'll bring that back to the lab, and we'll eventually extract that from the jacket and prepare it, and we'll have just the bone as it is on its own.
How many hours of prep do you foresee in the future from all of these exciting fossils that you're revealing from the bone bed in Alberta?
Well, the Chasmosaur skull will take probably months to prepare, and the bones we're getting out of the Centrosaurus bone bed, its bone bed looks to stretch about 20 by 20 meters area. And so we could be digging there for years and years and years to come. And all told, you're talking about probably years and years of work as well. Although it also depends on the type of rock that you have. The rock varies as far as how soft or hard it is. The bones in the Centrosaurus bone bed are in a very soft rock, and so it's quite easy to prepare, whereas the bone in the Chasmosaurus skull is in a very hard rock, and so that tends to add to the preparation time as well. But likely we're talking on the order of months to years.
Just cut it one more time. But
are you hearing me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, and you're comparing the amount of time it takes to clean the bone material from a soft matrix versus a harder matrix rock.
Yeah, so typically for a dinosaur with big bones, you're talking somewhere on the order of months to years to do the preparation work. It takes a long time. It's easy to dig up a dinosaur, but it's a lot harder to prepare it out of the rock.
Absolutely. Well, we don't want to take up too much more of your precious time out there in the Badlands. Were there any last questions that we had for Jordan or his work in the field of southeastern Saskatchewan? Yeah, go ahead. I was wondering, how long does it take, like, to study to become a paleontologist? Like, what does it take?
I lost my window there. There we go. Good question. So when I became a paleontologist, I went to Carleton University to do my undergraduate degree, and that took 4 years. So typically you're looking at 4 years of undergrad, maybe 5. From there, do research in paleontology. Typically you would pursue your PhD, in which case you're talking about another 4 or 5 years on top of that in university, going through grad school. But you know, you don't have to have a PhD to work in paleontology. You can be a technician, a fossil preparator. You can be a collections technician who basically maintains the fossils in the museum collections. And for that, typically, though not always, you would require a master's degree, which is maybe 2 years on top of your undergraduate studies, although it varies. So all told, after high school, you're looking at somewhere on the order of, let's say, 6 to 10 years.
It sounds like a lot, but it must all pay off for those few weeks that you get to spend like you are this summer.
Well, rarely paleontology because you're forced into it. You do it because you love it and it's what you want to do. So yeah, the time passes quickly when you're having fun.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Jordan. We wish you and Margaret and Scott and Alan all the best. Please say hi to them for us. We look forward to seeing you all when you're back here at the museum. And
yes, thank you.
The exciting finds that you're going to come back with.
I'll be back in about 3 weeks' time, so I'll look forward to showing off our finds when we get back there.
Excellent. Take care and have a great time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming today.